What's up, guys? I'm Laura from Reading in Bed. It's been a while since I made a video, and I was going to make one with some updates about some of the reading projects I've been doing this year, but I changed my mind, like, as I was sitting down to record, literally, so this will be a little all over the place. Made a couple notes, but yeah, there's just been something else on my mind, I guess. And as I watched some BookTube this morning, I saw a video called "Why Are You on BookTube?" which hasn't quite gone viral yet or anything, but there's at least one response to it. I've also noticed a couple of booktubers either actually leaving BookTube or talking about leaving BookTube for various reasons. Just kind of considering like the differences between mediums, because I'm primarily a book blogger. BookTube is something I do as well, but people talk about them like they're quite different, but are they? And then there's this book that I read recently called Revolutions by Alex Good. This is essays on contemporary Canadian fiction. So this is really about the state of literary criticism in Canada since the year 2000 approximately. It's quite thorough. It talks about prize culture, media, academic criticism, the canon we've created in Canada. There's quite a bit in here. It covers a lot of years, a lot of topics. I noticed it doesn't even have a glancing mention of book blogs, let alone BookTube. And this guy has a book blog, so that really struck me. It's like, what are we doing here? Book blogs and BookTube have been around for a while, but it's like we don't get any respect. We don't really, we're not really considered part of the landscape when it comes to criticism. Maybe a little more so when it comes to the landscape of marketing and publicity, but when it comes to criticism, we just, we don't seem to have that legitimacy, in either medium, let alone all the offshoots like Bookstagram and everything else. So, yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I want to do an actual review of this and maybe even interview the author if he'll let me, because I have so many questions, and I'm not going to spend today talking a lot about this book. I just, this is sort of part of the reason why I'm thinking about this stuff. So, yeah, where to begin? I guess, first of all, just thinking about, blogs versus BookTube. I'm curious what you guys think. Are there actually any differences? To me, it's all content, as much as I hate that word. But it's criticism, hopefully, just on different mediums. And personally, I consume both. I create both. And I look for the same things in both. I look for people with similar tastes to me, or maybe just different enough that I can get something new out of it. I look for people who have some humor to what they do, because I don't take all this stuff that seriously. I look for people who, whether it's their delivery of spoken words or their writing, are, somewhat restrained and subdued. I'm not all about the jazz hands and, so, mainstream BookTube is not really my thing, let's put it that way. So yeah, to me, they're just different sides of the same coin. If I'm somewhere where I can listen to something with audio, I might choose BookTube. If I need to be quieter, or I'm at work or whatever, I'm probably gonna choose a book blog or a written review. Although, I guess in terms of the attention that these mediums get, BookTube does seem to get a bit more. Whether that's just the way things are going, that people just want video and audio and they find that more engaging. I do sometimes too, not always. But there just does seem to be more of that visibility and more awareness of who the big players are. Max from Well Done Books tweeted out a while ago that BookTube now has an entry on Wikipedia, and it contains a list, I think, of the top 10 booktubers by subscriber count. They're all the people, that you would assume would be there. So we know who those people are. We know who the big booktubers are. Whereas when it comes to book blogs, we really don't, right? I've thought about this a few times before, and I just, I don't even know where to start. How do you find out, who are the big book bloggers by subscriber count or influence even? The only one that came to mind this morning was the Broke and the Bookish, who I think started that Top 10 Tuesday thing. But are they even, they are around, I looked, but all they seem to publish is Top 10 Tuesday, and that's it. And like, they're still using Blogger, so I mean, you know. But other than that, and like, you know, like there's particular like literary kind of book bloggers that I know they have a lot of influence in their particular niche. Like, you know, there's particular ones in the world of CanLit that are pretty well known, or that cover like the Man Booker International Prize in Literature and Translation. But like outside our little bubble, I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if any book bloggers are particularly well known. So that to me is a big difference between the two mediums. Like with BookTube, we kind of know who's big and who's doing stuff. And with book blogs, it's like there's just so many. And maybe it's because they've been around for a lot longer, right? I think like the early 2000s was the beginning of, you know, I think they were called lit blogs at that point. But when I came on the scene in 2011, I think that was like the peak of just, there were so many, and as someone new coming in, you miss the boat, like, you know, it's over, right? Like, we reached peak blog and now it's all diluted and whatever. Like, there's not even a blogger con at Book Expo anymore. I went to that 2 years ago. It was pretty, well, I don't know, maybe fairly well attended would be a nicer way to say it. But, you know, it was a thing. Now it doesn't even exist. Like Book Expo said, like, you know, you guys aren't really industry. You know, that's the message I get anyway, which, yeah, I mean, it's true. But anyway, so I'd love to know what you guys think about the differences, or are there any, and about just like the recognition and respect that these mediums get. The other thing on this note that I was thinking about was, I've heard some booktubers kind of talk about leaving, as I said, and some of them, when they talk about it, they say, well, maybe I'll just start a book blog instead, or like I'll move to another medium other than BookTube, and that's going to solve the problems I'm having around like too much pressure and, you know, self-imposed deadlines and stuff. I'm like, will it? Like, that just seems really weird to me, because book bloggers complain about all those things too, about pressure and too much visibility and needing to create new content all the time. And it's like, depending how you run your book blog, you're gonna have those same things. You can be a book blogger and be very intense, like publishing something every day and having your face out there and, you know, joining every event and doing all the read-alongs. Like, we call them different things, but like read-alongs, buddy reads, book tags versus memes, or like, you know, weekly link-up parties, or I don't even know what they're called on book blogs, but we do them, you know, like we do those things. We just call them different names. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just a caution from me to some of the booktubers out there who say, well, you know, the channel's too much pressure. I'm gonna start a blog and write reviews there. It's like, well, you're gonna get in the same mess that you're in now, unless you take a different approach, which is what I would recommend, and not put pressure on yourself, because why do that? So anyways, those are some of my thoughts, things I'm thinking about. And just to kind of answer that question for myself, why am I on BookTube / my book blog? Because to me, they're, you know, almost one and the same. I mean, yeah, like the easy answer that everyone goes with, but has truth to it, is a creative outlet. For me, I would say that. Plus, to challenge myself. Like, I started my book blog as a challenge blog. I didn't know what a book blog was in 2011. My blog was about reading 100 of the books off the 1001 books you must read before you die. No, I don't have it beside me, but anyways, for like a year and a half, like I just did that, and I didn't know there were people out there called book bloggers that were, you know, yeah. So once I figured that out, I was like, oh, this is a book blog. Okay. So definitely challenging myself in creative outlet. Absolutely. To make friends, kind of, at first, definitely. Although I find, and maybe this is just me needing to like shake things up, like I find it a good way to keep in touch with people I already know from the book blog world, but I don't find myself like discovering a lot of new book bloggers lately. So maybe that's something I need to work on. Another reason that is valid, and I've kind of used it this way, is to use it as a stepping stone to get actually published for your literary criticism or reviews. So I did publish a couple reviews last year in some online journals, like an actual traditional newspaper, if you can believe that. They still exist, although we don't, our local paper has like kind of done away with all that like local books coverage for the most part now, and kind of a local free weekly paper. I've done a couple of reviews there. So yeah, like that's a thing, and I see other people doing that. But the funny thing is, I feel like those like published on paper reviews probably get read less than just a random blog post. Not that my blog posts don't get read that much either, but yeah, I don't feel like there was a lot of attention on those kind of published written reviews. I don't know. So to me, it's like, well, why don't I just publish stuff on my blog? At least there I have a comment section and I can, interact with people. So, yeah. So, I mean, those are my reasons, really. Also, it gives me occasion to wear like a deep purple ultra matte lipstick, which is just gonna look funny if I wear it to pick up the kids, so there's that too. But apart from that, like, those are pretty basic answers. I hope other people do the why are you on BookTube or why do you have a book blog thing, because I'd like to hear some more answers. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about BookTube versus book blogging. Are they different? Are they the same? And just like, is there a point to either of them anymore? Like, when we don't really get recognized, I don't feel anyway, as being kind of a legitimate part of the literary criticism landscape. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.